Aquarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day. To understand these videos, all you need to know is your birth date. Everything else I will translate for you. I'm going to start out real broad with the big stuff, with the charts for the week. And then I'll focus that information down into Aquarius specific information. And then I will break everything down into the 3 decans of Aquarius to let you know exactly how your natal sun is being impacted. So let's start out. This is for the week of September 6th through the 12th. Happy birthday, Christine Bertrand. She's one of my best friends. September 6th. Woo, woo. It's your birthday. Hey. This is a peaceful week. I'm not going to even hesitate to say I think it's a beautiful week. It doesn't mean like, oh, everything is going to be wonderful, but it's like from the shit show that we came from, this week is so relaxed. It's calm. It's not the calm before the storm. There is some agitating, disruptive energy toward the end of the week that's going to start to form, but it's nothing compared to what we've been through. And I think that we need the nice reprieve. We need the downtime. And since everything is in retrograde, that's what I would suggest for you to take is downtime, is don't push yourself so hard. Open up, allow yourself to receive. Don't try to super motivate if you're not motivated. Trust yourself when you need to take a rest. All of this is common sense information, but especially when it comes to retrograde season, if you push, you miss the blessings. And there really are blessings in retrograde season. But most of us push and break things because we won't stop pushing. So this is a wonderful time when there's not many other agitators that are going to sort of, cattle prod you into moving forward. It's not. This is a wonderful time to just be able to take a breather and know that it's okay. Right? Nobody's getting one over on you because you decided to breathe this week. Let's go over some of the aspects that are happening that make it such a tranquil week. Through the 9th of September, we have Mercury in retrograde conjunct the sun. This is bright. This is optimistic. And this is also aha, like I've discovered something. I realized something. It's very intelligent and articulate. For Mercury retrograde, that usually means education and discovery. We also have Mercury trine to Jupiter through the 10th. So this is optimistic energy as well. It's a time for broadening and expanding and seeing things that you haven't seen before in different ways. It's really an expansive time through growing your mind and educating yourself by receiving more information, like education. It doesn't have to be you're going back to school, but what a wonderful energy to go back to school under. This is really beautiful. We have Venus. She is actually highly active this week. She is direct in Leo, which is a very optimistic and romantic energy. To begin with, it's very prosperous and abundant. But she's square to Jupiter, which also means more abundance. Opulence is really what it is. And though this can get excessive, it's also joie de vivre when surrounded by all these other positive things. We have, by the end of the week, Venus starting to go into a loose trine with Chiron again. I say again because she was in this loose trine while she was in retrograde. Venus direct now, trine to Chiron, is very healing energy. It's very soothing yourself and any of those challenges you've had with your own value, your own worth, and maybe even your finances. So this is really beautiful energy that's coming to us at the end of the week. All week long, we have Venus sextile Mars. And when I say sex on a platter, baby, that's what it is. It is sexy, sexual, desirable energy. Lots of opportunity for popping off and taking some action here, especially with Venus square to Jupiter. There's some decadence up in there. Really amazing week, really romantic week, really pleasurable week, and a nice harmony between the divine masculine and divine feminine there. That's really beautiful energy. what I want to say about that, on the 11th, 9/11, and let's just pause and understand that for the people in the US like me, that is a major day. It's a major day of heartache and grieving. But this 9/11 is actually going to be extra beautiful because you already have the Venus sextile to Mars all week long, but on the 11th is when the moon conjuncts Venus, and that makes it extra romantic, extra emotional, but like pleasure emotion, like not pleasure, happiness or joy. That's not pleasure. That's it radiating throughout you and really touching you more deeply. So something could even deepen and become much more radiantly beautiful, almost like you're living in a dream on that day. Not to say that you are, but to say that could be really when you get swept off your feet. This is a beautiful energy. And then by the end of the week, by 9/11 or the 11th of September on, we have Mercury starting to go into opposition with Saturn, which is disruptive energy. It's repression of what you can say. It's suppression of the words. And since Mercury is in retrograde, it's sort of the long list of oppressive things that have happened to obstruct things like speech or free communication. So that could be actually quite productive. But then we also have the Sun starting to oppose Neptune, or getting closer to an opposition to Neptune, which is very distracted energy. It's a very, I think distracted is the best way to say it. This is when people will easily bamboozle you. They will easily sell you tonic water as medicine, though it kind of is. But I'm saying like they'll swindle you. This is when the sharks come out. So because people are more prone to believe what isn't real, what is very deceptive. So that's really interesting, puts a whole other edge, though it's not really in full opposition until into next week. That's why I think really on 9/11, there's actually beautiful energy coming with that, with the moon and the conjunction of the moon. This is Sun opposite Neptune. That's really going to happen next week. It's just highly distractible energy. It doesn't last for long, but it does make an impact when it comes to people kind of only seeing through rose-colored glasses, and that not getting them anywhere. In fact, it could be leading them off track. So that's the kind of energy that starts to disrupt at the end of the week. But for most of this week, I gotta say, it's really just light and optimistic, and it's worthy of reception. So let's go into the Aquarius specific information. And what I look for there is what's going on in the sign of Aquarius. And there is nothing going on. Well, not that there's nothing, but nothing major. And I told you we discussed the major planetary aspects and transits here. So nothing real major going on there. But there is stuff going on with your ruling dignitaries. Now, technically, you only have one, your modern ruler, which is Uranus. But you also have a traditional ruler, which is Saturn. And yeah, Saturn still impacts you. That's why you guys are so freaking stubborn about everything. Yeah, I said it. It's like, even it's this disruptive energy where I want to rebel, but I'm also very traditional at heart. That's kind of, well, that's where it comes from. This Saturn energies that Saturn used to rule Aquarius. So let's look at what Saturn is doing. Actually, not much. It's in a long-term semi-square to Chiron, which can disrupt the way you feel about your ability to do anything right. Right? It can make you always feel like you're set upon by more restrictions, and or that things are just too strict and too heavy, and to the point where they're not accomplishable. And this is a major trigger point, definitely. But it's long term. So you've either been dealing with it or it's affecting us nationally or globally. We also, by the end of the week, by 9/12 especially, Saturn is going to be forming an opposition, or Mercury will be forming an opposition to Saturn, which will bring forth a lot of those feelings of why are you restricting what I say or how I communicate. And it'll make it very, very obvious because we'll have the pressure point put on us again. And with that semi-square to Chiron, it really does get jankety and personal. So that's Saturn, kind of what I put down is busting balls. Saturn is kind of busting balls. That's what it's doing this week into next week, busting balls. Let's see what Uranus is doing. Uranus has a pretty standard week. It's a pretty light week. Through the 9th of September, Uranus is going to be, by the 9th of September, Uranus is trine the sun, which is actually very optimistic. It's owning your specialness. It's proclaiming your individuality. It's allowing your oddities to shine and to be happy, like to be received well, even when you surprise people. That's really nice energy. But we also have the long-term trine to Pluto and the long-term sextile to Neptune. This is transformative energy. This is where your life transforms itself, where you accept those peculiarities about yourself and you see them as the beautiful things that they are, where your mind is highly creative and inventive and you have this formidable energy about you that people take seriously. This is very productive energy, but it's slow. It's not going to just impact you this week. It's over the next couple of years. So, okay. Let's go on to the decans. So every decan has a total of 10 degrees. Every zodiac sign has a total of 30. So there are 3 decans in every zodiac sign. These are demarcations that astrologers make. It's not like real things going on up in the cosmos, but demarcations that help us understand how certain groups of natal suns are going to be impacted, because they're not all impacted the same. So if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aquarius, it's in the first decan of Aquarius, the first group of 10 degrees, and you are Aquarius 1. This correlates to Aquarian birthdays basically in January. So January 22nd through the 31st, most definitely that would be you guys. If you're a January 21st Aquarius, then absolutely you guys too. It's your natal suns, but only if you're at the cusp, the Capricorn cusp. So I would say only the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of January would be the cuspers. It's you guys that are conjunct to Pluto. And you will remain conjunct to Pluto because Pluto will continue to shift into Aquarius, and that's where it will take its permanent position next year. So ultimately, you guys are conjunct to Pluto, and that means very formidable energy radiating off of you. Extremism, especially when it comes to your nature, having that persona that just impacts people and basically disrupts situations. So if you've been feeling people acting weirder towards you, like more intimidated, it's because of this conjunction between Pluto and your natal sun. It comes off as real badass. There can be a downside to it with people kind of avoiding you, but ultimately it is very formidable energy, and if you appreciate it and are grateful for it, it can be very helpful. All of you have a trine to Mars this week. Yeah, you have a trine to Mars this week. What does that mean? Sun trine Mars is radiant energy. It's energy. It's more energy. It's extra energy. It's feeling really good in your body, or being able to even heal how you feel about different aspects of your body. It is a great time to be physical. You'll get a lot of pleasure from it and a lot of joy from it. Also extra virility and stamina when it comes to your sexuality and sensuality. Since Mars is sextile to Venus, this could be a really romantic energy week for you, just to let you know. Then we also have a quincunx to Mercury as of the 9th. So only at the end of the week does that form. This quincunx to Mercury will just make Mercury retrograde that much more irritating and frustrating. And not just that your car popped a tire, but that you ran over 9 nails to do it. That kind of energy. It's just a little bit, it's going to drag you a lot more toward the end of the week into the beginning of next week. So if you have to get any important stuff done, at least communicated, I would do it early in the week, because later on in the week, that energy is going to be much stronger and something will go wrong, as it always does in Mercury retrograde. Just an FYI. There could be also things that people have said or information that was said that is playing on your mind and starting to stimulate you by frustrating you. It doesn't mean it's to a bad end, but it just could be coming back up, and it's for a reason, so pay attention to it. It is trying to get you to release energy by confronting whatever the stimulation is coming from. With Mercury retrograde, it's usually words, information, something that somebody has said. FYI. let's go on to Aquarius 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aquarius, you are Aquarius 2s. This correlates to February Aquarians between February 1st and the 11th, in and around there. You have a long-term sextile to Chiron, so your troubles and your challenges have been inspiring you to inspire others and blaze trails. That's long-term. It's been going on for the past year or so, and it will continue on through next year. Your natal suns are also square to Jupiter, which is very optimistic energy, but it can be overbearing and overpowering and become too much. So it's really best to not necessarily keep it in check, but keep your ego in check, definitely. That's where it can run amok. We also have an opposition to Venus, which is now direct. This is stimulating energy between the sun and Venus. It's not necessarily bad, but it's highly stimulating. And I would say definitely this whole week, since Venus is also sextile Mars, this could be very romantically stimulating energy, very virile and sensual energy to the point of distraction, especially on the 11th when the moon conjuncts Venus. And it's almost like your natal suns will be in opposition to the moon. It's like your own mini full moon. It's not a full moon actually, but it's like your own mini full moon, because it's when there's really something has built up so much, it has to be released. And with all this sensual, sexual energy, it could very well be that. Or if you have been struggling with finances, something could come to a head around that time that you needed to release the friction on. We also have a quincunx to the sun all week long, which between your sun and the sun, this could just be just it's like butting heads with other egos, or like feeling a little bit off, just feeling like a little bit off center when it comes to you and how you look or how you feel about yourself. It doesn't mean that that's how others are responding to you, but it's this questioning that might happen this week, which can actually release some more deeper inquiries that could help you. It doesn't have to be bad. It just is definitely stimulating and probably frustrating. And then we have by the 10th, so by the end of this week, your natal suns are also quincunx to Mercury retrograde, in which case, by the end of this week, there is some pretty just intense energy. So I would say in the beginning of this week, especially if you're born at the beginning of the second decan, so say around February 1st, 2nd, 3rd, this could be a pretty intense Mercury retrograde experience for you those days. It is not the greatest time to take a test. It is not the greatest time to send out important communications or have important discussions. It's not a great time to sign important paperwork. In general, Mercury retrograde isn't a great time to do those things, but for you especially, it's going to be an extra agitation through the 10th of this week. Let's move on to Aquarius 3s. So Aquarius 3s, if you are at the cusp, so your birthdays would then span from around the 12th all the way up through the, say, 19th or 20th, because I know February ends early, Pisces season starts, but right up through that time would be you guys, right up to the Pisces cusp. If you are on the Pisces cusp, your natal suns are now once again conjunct to Saturn. They haven't been for a while because Saturn went all the way out to 7 degrees Pisces when it was moving direct, but it has retrograded all the way back to just 2. And so for those of you on the cusp, once again, you're going to feel this sense of taking things more seriously and being taken more seriously, and that can be very productive energy. Just an FYI, you could also take things a little too hard on yourself as well, or be more strict on others, but ultimately it is very productive energy, so enjoy that while it's there. You also have a long-term sextile to the north node and trine to the south node, so there is looking toward the future and finding opportunities in things that normally wouldn't interest you, but take them because they're there to expand you and to broaden your life and your capabilities. It is something that usually makes you uncomfortable, but for some reason it's calling you to it, so get to it. Take the opportunities. Absolutely. This is stimulation in the forward direction toward things that you never would have been interested in before. And that trine to the south node means that you're feeling good enough about yourself and secure enough about who you are to test those new waters. It's a good time to do it. And then you have a long-term square to Uranus, which for the next couple of years will stimulate your need to be your own self and your need to establish a sense of individuality that others don't get in your face about. That there is that sense of feeling restricted and wanting to try new and different things and be seen in different ways. And it's sort of like a mini midlife crisis, basically. Kind of like that, like I want to try all the things I've never got a chance to try. And this could cause friction in your current relationships, absolutely, unless you're clever and you convince somebody that you care about to come along with you, and then it could be a beautiful, expansive experience for the both of you. So, guys, you let me know in the comments below how all this energy is impacting you. And please remember to give this video a like and share it if you know somebody that you know would love it. And then don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that we can grow over here on Astrology Motivation, and join me for your week ahead tarot card reading over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Bye.